Hi, this is Ray Peck. Today I'm going to be talking about the up and coming fight, eagerly anticipated, eagerly awaited, bit of a circus fight, if I'm honest, between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. Now, this fight's been talked about for quite some time, as we know, but I think the first thing we need to put to bed is this a genuine fight? Is this a real life combat warrior fight? Worthy of the respect that I'm sure they both want. My answer to that is yes, it is. Yes, it is, absolutely. Any two men who get into the ring and put on gloves and fight under the Marquess of Queensberry rules, in my book, deserve 100% respect. And equally, it's not my cup of tea, but equally, any man who climbs into that hexagon, pentagon, whatever it's called, shaped ring, cage, with pretty much stripped bare, minimum padding on their knuckles, and that's really about it, and a gum shield, and tears each other apart. You've got to be A, you've got to be pretty tough, and B, I think you've got to have slightly something loose upstairs to want to do that. But each to their own. Now, if we look at these two fighters that are going to take to the ring on the 26th of August, first of all, we know for a fact it's going to be a huge sellout across the world. Pay-per-view, right across the world. It's just going to be ridiculous. But concentrating on the two fighters in the ring, which is what it's about, and who do we think is going to win? Or I don't know. At this point, I'm not even sure I'm in a position to make a prediction. I might do by the time we get to the end of this video. I'm actually thinking about it as we go. If not, I'll post another video a bit later nearer to the fight. So if you look at the two fighters, if you look at Conor McGregor, so the defining factor for me in this fight is going to be youth versus experience. It's an interesting clash, isn't it? You've got Conor McGregor, this very ultra confident, brash, in-your-face Irishman. I love the Irish. I'm half Irish myself. I saw a video. You could probably find it on here on YouTube. I was just looking at it just a minute ago with Chris Eubank, and he was talking about it. And he said, the one weapon that Conor McGregor has got is that he's Irish. And that shouldn't be underestimated, because they are one tough breed of people. They're born fighters, They'll settle anything with a fight. You've probably seen the film. Is it Snatch? I think it is. That's a fine looking car you got there. I'll fight you for it. That's the mentality you'll often find in the Irish. So they don't mind a tear up. They don't mind a fight. But when you get somebody like Conor McGregor, who A, doesn't mind a fight, he likes to have a fight, but B, is very, very, very good at it. It's an interesting mix. So he's 29 years of age. If you look at his history in the UFC and MMA and mixed martial arts and everything else, he's currently, I believe, he's the UFC lightweight champion. I think he won Cage Warriors. He was the featherweight and lightweight champion. And we all know, if you follow the sport at all, in 2015 he fought Jose Aldo for the UFC featherweight championship. Now, this was a fight which is very, very similar to the position that he finds himself in now with Floyd Mayweather, and it's what he thrives on. He found himself in a position where he was taking a fight where he was completely written off. No one's going to beat Aldo. He's the best in the world, blah, 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 blah. McGregor's gone one step too far. He's out of his depth, out of his league. That fight lasted 13 seconds, and interestingly, it was ended with a punch. You know, I think it was a left hook that floored him, and then he finished him. So 13 seconds to beat what was arguably considered the pound for pound best UFC fighter in the world. So straight away there's his credibility. Bang, that's up there. He then went on to beat Eddie Alvarez, which was the UFC lightweight championship. And he became the first fighter in UFC history to hold two titles in two weight groups simultaneously. So, he's already a history maker. He's already someone who defies all the odds. So what are his strengths? What's he going to bring in the ring against, we already know, a proven and formidable Floyd Mayweather? Well, the one thing I think people need to remember is Conor McGregor can box. He's not he's not been boxing all of his career, so he's going to be different. We know that, but he can box. I think when he fought way back 2013, I think he fought a guy called I've got it down here, a guy called Marcus Brimage, and he beat him with a succession of very well timed uppercuts until he floored him and won the fight. He actually began his career as a boxer, McGregor, when he was 12 years old, and he became the All-Ireland champion at youth level. Packy Collins, the brother of Steve Collins, who we all remember as a great middleweight, beat Chris Eubank. He was a trainer at a boxing gym in Ireland, and he actually said that McGregor can hold his own with any world champion. And he's got this very unorthodox striking style, almost like a chopping action, and a very unusual stance. And many of the boxers that he sparred with in that gym said they just couldn't get their timing off with him because it was so awkward. And that could be decisive. That could be absolutely huge factor against an orthodox boxer that's done nothing but box. Then we take Mayweather. He's as well 40 years of age. We can't take anything away from Mayweather what he's achieved in his career as a boxer. Arguably the best pound for pound fighter on the planet that the planet has maybe possibly even ever seen. He is considered one of the greatest of all times. That goes without even saying. He's undefeated in his professional career. That's undefeated. That's just crazy. He's now 40. It's more crazy when you look at the likes of the people he's fought and beat over his career. De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Shane Mosley, Ortiz, Guerrero, Alvarez. It goes on, man. Maidana, and finally Manny Pacquiao, although that wasn't the best fight in the world, and we all know that. And I think he picked that fight very, very carefully because Pacquiao was way past his best at that point. And my personal opinion is that had the two of them met 7 years before, I think Pacquiao would have beaten Floyd Mayweather. I think Pacquiao was a different kettle of fish altogether, and we all know how many titles and world titles Pacquiao had at different weight groups. He's just incredible. But anyway, that's by the by. The other thing is you need to remember. So you got Floyd Mayweather is a 5-division world champion. Okay, he's a very, very, very good defensive boxer. He boxes on the retreat, comes back with counters. He's got lots and lots of points victories. I think he beat De La Hoya on points. I think he beat Ricky Hatton. He beat on a KO, and we all remember that. And that was almost embarrassing. Shane Mosley beat on points. Ortiz. Ortiz. We remember Ortiz. He beat on point. He beat with a knockout, but it was very controversial after they had hugged, and he hit him as they broke from the hug, and then Ortiz turned to look at the ref to complain. He was floored or hit with a left hook, I think it was. But I've watched Floyd Mayweather. He doesn't strike me as being a particularly hard puncher when I look at him. He's a very fast puncher. He can certainly take punishment, but he's been rocked. His legs have been buckled before. We know he can be hurt. And I just think on the night, if it goes the way it's gone so far, we all know that a lot of boxing fights are won outside of the ring way before the fight starts. A key master of that, of course, was Chris Eubank and Mike Tyson, who you would put the fear of God into his fighters before they even got into the ring. Tyson Fury is another one, isn't it? He talks and talks and talks the talk, and he's very unpredictable. No one knows what he's going to do or say next. And you have to put Conor McGregor in that same category. Conor McGregor exudes confidence. He exudes the brashness. He exudes the, I've come here for a fight. I want to fight. You can't. There's nothing you can bring to the table that can hurt me. We saw at the press conference, the first one in Canada, when he was saying, "Your head's too small. You're a runner. You run away. You've never been hit by anything that like me. I break people's noses with my shin, but all that kind of stuff." I honestly think, if I am going to make a prediction, and I think that if you take all that into consideration, I think McGregor's got to Floyd Mayweather. I think he's got inside his head. And once you get inside somebody's head prior to the fight, it's very difficult to shut it out. Steve Collins beat Chris Eubank, and one of the tactics that he used was he refused to listen to anything he said. And on the night of the fight, he entered the ring with music in his ears, and he sat in the corner with his hood over his eyes, so he couldn't see Chris Eubanks, stancing around and making himself intimidating. So there's no way Eubank could get inside Collins' head. But I do believe McGregor has already got inside Floyd Mayweather's head. And that's very important. The second factor then we need to remember is the age difference. 29 versus 40. Wow, youth is a wonderful thing. We've all been young once. And, although we like to think we can still have a fight and a tear up, I'm age 54 now, but common sense tells you that you're slower, your brain's not as quick, your body's not as strong. You might not ever lose the punch. That's a fact, and we saw that with Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko, and Klitschko certainly still had the punch, but at the end of the day, age was the victor. And I think taking that into account as well, trying to counterbalance that with the experience that Mayweather has. Unbeaten, been there, seen it, done it, wrote a book, worn a t-shirt. But you have to ask yourself, he hasn't fought for how long now? A long time. You have to ask yourself, is his heart really in this now? He didn't look like his heart was in it for me when I saw that press conference. And, when that goes as well, fighters fight with their heart. Boxers fight, they don't fight with their head, they fight with their heart. And I'm not sure that Mayweather's got that desire anymore. He's got nothing to prove. He didn't need to take this fight. there's plenty of other fighters out there that are, they're queuing up to fight, to be the one to claim the scalp of Floyd Mayweather. So why did he take Conor McGregor? Because Conor McGregor is the richest man in UFC, and together they can make a shitload of money. And I think that's the reason. I think that's the reason, and it's the wrong reason for Floyd Mayweather to take that fight. My final prediction is going to be this. I think the fight will go 8 rounds. And I think McGregor will stop Floyd on a TKO somewhere around the middle of the 8th round. I think early doors, you'll find Floyd Mayweather will be dancing around the ring, will be much quicker and much more accurate than McGregor. But McGregor's unusual stance, his unpredictability, his antics, and everything will culminate in Floyd making a mistake, I believe, and getting caught fairly early on, which will rock him and rock his confidence. And from that point, I believe his heart and his chin will go. So my prediction is Conor McGregor to beat Floyd Mayweather within 8 rounds. I say possibly in the 8th round, but that's obviously just my idea. But within 8 rounds, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. I don't post many videos on boxing, but when there's a big fight like this, I do. I'll be doing another one shortly on the Super 8 series that's coming up, which looks to be very, very interesting. Thanks very much. Please leave a comment and like, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. And I look forward to reading them. Thanks very much. Take care.